Good afternoon, Spartans. Happy Tuesday, October 12th. This is the lesson for the hours 5 and 6 junior world history. Tuesday, October 12th. Sorry to have missed you. As I stated earlier, I am out of the building this afternoon on some union business, and then I am out of town the rest of the week playing in a golf tournament. So in my absence, I'll be leaving you these little tidbits of wisdom to help keep you guys moving along so we don't lose any time this trimester. As you can see, I have the Schoology page open for you, just in case we have issues. Every day you will come in and you will go to the day that it is. This is Tuesday, October 12th, and see what we are doing. Again, since it is very much self-paced, if you get a little bit behind, you got to go back to the previous day and finish, then you can go on to that day's work. Again, we just need to have this stuff finished before I come into school to go through it with you on Monday, and then we start getting ready for your next test. We are talking physical features and some political regions of China. We're going to map a couple of things out since you know I like to have map questions, and then you guys have a little bit of reading to do. Just in case something happens to your packet, you should have a copy of your packet by now. That is what I'm going to be collecting next week, just in case something does happen to it and we don't have any extra copies. You can see that there is an electronic version that you can utilize if it comes to that. But these things do need to be done on paper. You'll also see that any sort of reading assignment is going to be available in this assignment, right? The link to our textbook is right there. So at this point, ladies and gentlemen, what you need to do is get that packet in front of you, and we're going to go through and look at the different political regions of China. China, its size, how much land it's covered has more or less ebbed and flowed over the course of time. China is broken into a couple of distinct regions. Present. Thank you. The main region of China is called China proper. Okay, this is where the Chinese civilization is going to originate. This is their more or less long time, always controlled. Put this right here. Long held, always controlled region. Okay, so we need to label this one China proper, and I would appreciate if you went and colored this in to some extent or somehow marked it so you could see the extent of this region. Okay, so this is the original confines of China, and what we're going to see here is sometimes they've been able to expand their boundaries and keep it. Sometimes they've expanded their boundaries and lost it. Again, throughout the course of time, but this is mainland China. This is China proper. This is something that they've always held. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and outline this and kind of get it some coloring. You guys, I'm sure, will do a much better job detailing. Oh, it's a little star. Detailing this region. Okay, if you don't have colors right now, you can always come back and get that fixed up. The next region that makes up, and it still makes up part of China, is Tibet. Now, there is some debate in the 21st century whether Tibet is part of China or whether or not they've just illegally annexed it. If you ever ask anybody from Tibet, I can guarantee you that they would argue that Tibet is not part of China, that they took it without their permission. So here we have Tibet, and again, Tibet is going to run more or less right along the Himalayas, all the way up to countries like India, Bhutan, Nepal. Okay, this is Tibet. The next region, the Xinjiang. Okay, right here. Oops, I missed an X. The Xi, add an extra J. The Xinjiang is this region right here. Go ahead and pick a color. Let's go with purple. So far, China proper, Tibet, Xinjiang, these are all still under control of present-day China. Mongolia a region they used to have control of. Mongolia is no longer a part of China, it's its own country. All right, this region right here is Mongolia. Orange. Mongolia. All right. Mongolia, no longer part of China. And again, their borders have changed over the course of time. Manchuria is the other region. Manchuria still belongs to China in the 21st century. At times, the Japanese have held it, but in the 21st century, this has reverted back to the control of the Chinese. Give this a loose highlight. And then finally, the last one is Northern Korea, not part of China anymore. Northern Korea. And that's going to be this little peninsula region right here. And let's go with green. All right. So these are the different political regions that over the course of time have made up the farthest extent of China. Obviously, the China that we recognize today is China proper, Tibet, Xinjiang, Manchuria. All right, Mongolia, North Korea, no longer part of China. When you are done with this, obviously you're going to go onto the physical map. I should have said if you needed to pause the video at any point in time to get these things labeled, obviously do it. You are kind of working at your own pace this week. Our next slide, oh, look at that. Look at that, almost matches up perfectly. You can see the extent of present day China, okay? So you can see Tibet here, you can see Xinjiang here, you can see Manchuria here. Obviously, Northern Korea is no longer part of it, and neither is Mongolia, all right? You can see on the physical map sheet that there are a few things to label here. All of these items listed on your map, other than the Qinling Shandy Mountains, are in your textbook on page 79. So I'm only going to point out one physical feature for you, and that's more or less going to be right here. These are the Qinling Shandy Mountains, and they more or less run between the yellow, between the Huang or yellow or the Yangtze Chang River. I'm going to go ahead and just mark these. Oops, undo that. Oh, not that. Don't want that. This is what we want. I'm going to go ahead and mark these with brown so they stick out a little bit for you guys. The Qinling Shandy Mountains basically cut China in half between the north and south. All right. A few more rivers to do. Again, Huang, the Yangtze, the Xi. Again, page 77 is the page in your textbook with the map. And then you've got some larger bodies of water to label: the yellow, the East China Sea, South China Sea, Bay of Bengal, and the Gobi Desert. You just need to label these on the map. Hopefully you'll highlight the rivers so you can see the extent of where these rivers are in China. And then once it's labeled and colored, then you're done with the maps portion. You're going to be going on to the reading. The reading is going to stress to you the impact of the physical features on China. To connect this into our last unit on South Asia, the Himalayan mountains. The Himalayan mountains more or less protect the Chinese civilization from the south and southwest. You have the Atlay Mountains, which more or less run along where Russia is. That would protect the Chinese civilization from outsiders in the northwest. But you're going to find out as we continue to read here that the Chinese are going to be open from invasion from the north. There's really not going to be a physical feature there that protects them. The Gobi Desert does for a time period, but it's not a everlasting protection. And we're going to see how that plays out. So a little bit of reading to do after these maps. And then you have questions 1 through 9 to answer. I believe you're reading pages 76 through 83. The last question being, explaining the fall of the Shang dynasty. That is all I have for you. Remember, if you run out of time, you could always pick this up tomorrow in class. It's a little self-paced, so if you get a little bit behind, you got time in class to get caught up. We just need to make sure that we have this all ready to go by the time I get back in class on Monday. So hope you're doing well. Enjoy your Tuesday. Be safe. And as always, go Spartans.